Media industry is very, very exploitative. There is a lot of sexual harassment, there is a lot of sex involved for jobs.
It's Diaspora Connect UG, bringing you closer to home.
Ladies, especially the ladies in the Uganda media industry, whether you're a reporter, a writer, an editor, a camera person, an anchor, an interviewer, whatever the case, script writer, the Ugandan media industry is very, very exploitative. There is a lot of sexual harassment, there is a lot of sex involved for jobs. That is the truth. And the painful thing is that many of us have normalized it, but it's not right. You need to protect yourself as a woman. You don't have to sleep with anyone to get a job. You don't have to sleep with anyone to prove that you're worthy of a job. And the minute we start laying those kinds of grounds, these big bosses in these offices will not keep making those advances, will be ashamed to keep making those advances. If you say no, if you report these cases, you get rid of those kinds of advances.
It takes courage, strength, zeal, and a lot more for someone to speak out about the things he or she might be going through in life. A lot of people go through quite a number of things that are challenging, but many of them fear to speak out because, well, some of them fear to be judged or they fear to be laughed at by those who hear about the stories or the challenges they are facing in life. Well, Penelope Nankunda is not one of those. She chose to speak out about some of the challenges she faced in her quest of finding a job. So she will be sharing her experience and her story right here on Diaspora Connect UG. And well, my name is Eric Boa. Welcome to the show. I'm here with Penelope. Thank you very much for choosing to speak to us right here on Diaspora Connect UG.
You're welcome. Thank you too for the opportunity. I'm humbled. Yes.
Well, I saw your posts. I've been following them a couple of weeks now.
All right.
I think it's now coming to a month. You decided to, utilize your social media handles in the right way and brought up something that many don't give attention. But if you look at the reactions, they agree that what you were talking about is actually happening, and it's happening in different places, different workplaces, and in different sectors. Talk about media, talk about government offices, in many organizations, and the thing we are talking about here is sex for jobs.
Yeah.
But I would like to first of all thank you for being brave, for being courageous.
Thank you.
I think I'm saying this for is it the second time?
Yes, I appreciate.
Because as I've said in the beginning, it takes a lot of courage and a lot more. Because many people go through a lot, but they choose not to speak out. And I'm sure there is that one thing that motivated you to get up and speak up.
Well, first of all, thank you so much for inviting me on the show. Yes, so when I actually put out that tweet, to be honest, I have had this conversation in my head for a very long time, but I never had the courage to put it out there. I had been to different organizations like training institutes for media, and I saw the bosses use the young girls, and it seemed like it's the order of the day. It's normal.
It's a normal thing.
Yes, I actually had a conversation with my friend one day on it, and he told me, "But Penny, these ladies are adults." And I looked at her and said, "Wow, so that's that." He said, "No, they're adults. They make their own decisions." I said, I don't think it's That's the best way to look at it, because the parents, in their minds, they know the kid is there learning journalism. They don't know that there is probably a trainer or a boss or a man who is making sexual advances. But then I let it slide. I put it at the back of my mind. But then recently I was privileged to meet someone of very high caliber who, honestly, I thought, when I had this conversation with this person, I thought that this is my breakthrough. You know, when you've been chasing something for so long and you're almost giving up, and then someone approaches you and says, "Oh my goodness, you're so talented, you're destined for greatness. I'm going to make you big." You know, I know talent. When I see talent, I said, I think this is it. But then you finally meet this person, you have a conversation with this person, and the first part of the conversation revolves around, "Oh, let's go to my room. Oh, there is this hotel. Or how much money do you want? Do you like partying?" I'm like, okay, we came to talk about a job, and you're talking to me about about
Something
the
different.
bar, about that was a no-no for me. And I withdrew, but the shock of, oh my goodness, even him, you know, I can't mention the name, but there are people you don't dream are in that area. They
So
they,
it
they present
basically
themselves
came
as
from someone
very
you
professional. Very professional, that
didn't expect.
I am very sure that my word against his, I would never win. But I know what he does. So when that happened, I said, you know what? I may not have the courage to put the names out there,
Yeah.
but it's time we talk about this. We have to have this conversation. And that's when I just put it out there. And I knew, thank you for the courage, because it was courage. I knew that once I put it out here, people are going to look at me in a certain way. There are those who are saying, we're, cheering me on. But then there are other people who are not happy. I'm a journalist. I still need a job. So there are some offices that are going to be like, I know, we don't want that girl.
And did you have it in
that
mind
was
that if at all I share this, one day I might have to, appear in a certain office to still look for this very job, and they do this background check and
they find out about the
it,
yes,
it
I
doesn't
did.
work out for me.
Yes, I did, but I don't know. Maybe it is just in my personality. Maybe it's because I'm a strong believer of God. I said I don't mind. If the job is mine, I'll get it. If they don't want to employ me, well and good. But I'm gonna have the conversation, whether people want it or not. We're going to have the conversation. And I shared a video on sex for jobs, and then I shared a tweet. And it's the video that came out first, but it's that feedback that encouraged me to put out the
To
second
make
one.
the tweet.
I was
Yeah.
completely shocked. Like, there was so much positive response, like, oh my gosh, thank you, someone is finally. So I said, okay, it means people are actually dealing with this, but everyone is so scared to talk about
It's
it.
basically the nature of people. We are always waiting for that one person to
Set
to
it
blow the
away.
whistle, then we'll be like, yeah, I actually wanted to also talk about this and this.
No, that really encouraged me. I said, okay, so people are actually scared of talking about, and I had to think before I put out the second one. There was a lot of thinking involved. I was like, oh, I was like, okay, now you're going to the next. So I had to weigh what am I going to benefit, who am I helping. But when I look at the things that I've gone through, I wouldn't want. I thought to myself, when I do this, I'm going to be helping someone else not have to go through the same thing. It's not nice. Yeah. So to me, it's worthwhile. Yeah. So that's what triggered me to start in the beginning.
So before making the post and even recording the video, did you happen to share this whole experience with someone else, before coming to social media?
The post itself, no. For the experience, okay, for that particular experience with a professional person, yes, I did talk to my sister about it, and she too was very shocked. She was just, Penny, I don't want you near that guy again. Like, that is terrible, because she also didn't think someone like that would do something of that sort. But aside from that, before that experience, like I said, I've been in different teams and offices where I used to see those things. And I remember I quit. I pulled myself out of should I call it a job? I pulled myself out because I noticed it. It's they were advancing on me as well. But me, I knew I'm not going to keep it. But then I saw them doing it to other people. And if you're working hard and you notice that someone else is getting credit or what you're working for just because they're doing certain things, it's not fair. And I'm a woman of I love equal I like equity, right? I like people being treated equally. So I noticed there was that, and then you're using people's daughters. And I told my people at home, because they're very aware of my career choices. They know I keep my parents up to speed. And I told my dad, I'm not going back there. And he asked me why, and I told him this and this and this. Can you imagine they're using this? And they know me at home like that. I said I'd rather sit at home. I will not be in an organization that functions like that. I don't mind how big or whoever is involved. It's not, to me, that's just, I don't work like that.
Was it the first time for you to experience such a situation, or you
Yes.
had also met it somewhere else?
Mm,
So then getting to find it here as well, then you were like, I
the
think,
organization.
yeah, enough is enough. Was it your first experience, or you had experienced it somewhere else?
Mm, no, that was my first experience. But for this one, I think it's because I put a lot of effort to get there. I really put a lot of effort, and I tried more than once. And I never kept getting what I wanted, and I was so frustrated. I said, okay, am I not doing the right thing? I'm not, I think as a journalist, I'm not probably excellent, but so why aren't things working out for me? Then I was fortunate to actually see that happening. Oh, you know what, so and so is in this place because
Because
of
she did
this.
A, B, C, D.
And I said, okay, so this is how we're working here. And I thought to myself, now, how many other people are up there or have won against me on that note? I don't know. Um, how do I know that I'm actually not supposed to be the one who should really have taken that position? But certain things are happening in the background, and it's the effort. I really put in a lot of effort. So I think that that pain made me. It was like the last blow, yeah. And I think that's where it began. I kept witnessing it in now different. I was more alert, yeah, and I kept witnessing it in other spaces.
So then you're like, I can't wait for this to happen to me.
I can't.
It's
I
time for me to speak out.
exactly. You know, this happened to me. And for example, with the gentleman I mentioned or
Mm-hmm.
the organization, I'm sure I was not the first girl
Mm-hmm.
that this prominent person
Mm-hmm.
is doing this to. I'm not the first person he's approaching. I'm sure that in that media house, I'm not going to be the first and last. I may walk away, but they'll continue, right? So I thought the only way to make a difference is to alert people, alert young people. There are things that they don't teach us in school. When we're at the university, I noticed, and I appreciate that our lecturers try to do as much as possible to prepare us for what's out there. They talk about your salary, they guide you on your career. Third year, they're like, do you want to do communication? Do you want to do journalism? I was at UCU, to be specific. They tried, but there are certain things no one tells you. I don't know if it's that they don't know or they want you to figure it out, or maybe in their time it was not like that. I'm not sure. But you get out there and you find it on your own. So I was trying to protect. I want to protect those who are out there to not have to go through it, because as much as we only look at a job, you getting a job and the sex, I'm sure that there are vices that are connected to that. Some of these individuals who get these young girls are sick. Let's be realistic. I don't have evidence per se, but I've heard a lot of hearsay about certain media houses and managers who are HIV positive. They're there. And I don't know if some people not, some girls are not scared of AIDS anymore. Some may be desperate. They need a job. They need to survive. So you go there, you walk out with AIDS, you walk out with
Pregnancy.
a pregnancy at the expense of, getting this job. But if I talk about it, maybe you go in a little carefully, or if you're not like me, you're not comfortable with it from the word go, you'll be encouraged to know that, oh, there is another lady out there. It's, there's that peer influence. I may want to be against it, but all my friends are doing it. But then you're like, oh, but there is that girl called Penny. Penny also doesn't believe in it, so I can stand my ground. So I want to also encourage girls who are trying to already stand in that line. Yeah.
From your posts, I
Mm,
realized that there are two scenarios here. This whole thing of sex for jobs, it can come before someone gets the job or even after getting the job.
yes,
So you
yes.
find that after getting the job, you will, as a person looking at what you described, you start noticing weird, should I call them weird things? You
Mm,
know, someone requesting to go out with you on a dinner
mm,
for
mm,
coffee. Then
mm,
at the end of the day, that's where the whole story connects, and
mm,
what was what appeared in the first place as a dinner or coffee
mm,
will end up, this person will be more direct at that
mm.
point that, you know what, I
I
think it's
want
time
this
for
and
us
this.
to connect. And
Yeah, that's true. From my experience and from what I've heard, the conversations I've had, you can't get in. You get into the media sometimes, like you said, it's either before or it can happen after. But with the inside, you want to be alert. You notice that maybe your superior is taking keen interest in you. He's saying, "Oh, but Penny, I think you're really good. When there's that extra praise, you're amazing. You're so talented. You're doing this show. I want to give you another show." That is something that happened to me. I want to give you two more shows because you're just so excellent. And in my head, I'm thinking, oh my God, I'm that. Is this money enough for you? You know what? What I've made a special arrangement. Don't worry, your job is there. And then the next thing you're being told, I know work is stressful. Why don't we hang out for coffee? Oh, but sir, I don't think it's. Is it fine to? No, no, no. I'm a manager. Whatever happens with me is my business. Nobody needs to get to know. Innocently, you might think, okay, he just wants us to go and release stress.
have
Let's
some
go and have
coffee.
some
Yeah.
coffee. Coffee is in the restaurant today. Coffee next month is in a hotel bedroom. Probably getting some mobile money. Sees you struggling, your hair is not done, your nails are not done, you have not paid rent, you're starting to see money coming into your account. And and by the time, they're either those who make an approach from the beginning, but they're also those who will corner you in the sense that they will spend so much on you that when it's time to pay up, you can't run.
So some of them will be
I've
direct and others will come indirectly.
Yes,
Yeah.
for my case, it was direct. I
Mm.
kept getting these different offers. Let's have coffee. You're going to do this extra show. You finish a screen test, you're offered a show, and they're telling you that the manager has keen interest in you, and he's very good at identifying talent. And he just said there is something about you. Of course, I was innocent. I said, oh, okay, I think I'm really good. But then when you have a conversation with him, you start noticing, oh, Penny, we need your feedback on this job before this weekend. I don't want to lose you. And then next thing, he's sending you a message, you don't even understand where he got your number from. And it keeps building up. And then, but it's because of the constant, no, it's okay. I kept passing, I kept refusing. The next thing, oh, you know what, Penny, 3 weeks down the road, Penny, we're having a bit of a technical issue. An emergency has come up, a reshuffle, and unfortunately we may not be able to retain you in this job. Have I done anything? No, 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 no. It has nothing to do with you. We're really sorry, but some management issues we maybe took in more than what we could, and that's just you being fired from the manager. And actually, when all that is happening, manager is not, he's not going to, you're not going to see him. It's the people he has sent to tell you how you have to get out of that office. But then there are those who will spend, and you're just letting in and letting in, and then when he finally says, "Let's meet at," God for just an example, Sheraton Hotel, and now you say, "But and he says, "But I've given you an iPhone, I've paid your rent, and this job is
So
you owe me. You're not going to, even you as a lady. How are you going to start arguing? Are you going to give him back all his things?" And then you get stuck. So that's where I feel we need to be very alert. Whether it doesn't mean if you're in, it's okay. Even when you get in, you need to watch how much or keen interest is put into you as an individual. Is it professional keen interest, or is someone actually trying to use you? And the funny thing is, most of the time in these offices, organizations, the staff know. They know their bosses, by the way. They know. They will laugh and tell you, "Oh, that guy, he's like that."
and when you're a new person in this place or workplace, those who have, I'm assuming that those who know how this person normally operates will be like, we are quite sure that guy or that person might be the next.
Exactly. Yes, there wasn't actually. You've reminded me. There was a media house I was in some time back, before for ones I've already mentioned, where the boss had a tendency of, he would date the interns. This one, they usually recruited interns, but of course they had their permanent employees. But he would date the interns, and it would probably be like three ladies at the
At
same
the same
time.
time.
And I mean, yeah, he didn't take any interest in me per se, because I felt like I got the impression he knew my energy from the beginning. Me, I think, I think, of course, men of such nature are put off by girls like us, because you just think, look at her, like, ah, that one now, she's so rebellious, she's not going. So he also just felt like,
That one is so tough.
I don't like that girl. Yeah, because me, I would tell people, why is he doing that? What is the idea? And what frustrated me, now was really, I was young. I think in my first year, so that was my first time actually seeing it. And when I talked to my colleagues who were staff, they just laughed it off. They're like, that's how that guy is. So the next day, this lady would not come to work. "Oh, where is this girl? Oh, she's not coming to work. She said she's sick." And the staff would be like, she's not sick. Being with the boss, she can decide not to come because she's with the boss. And so she'd
So
come
should
today.
we call them some of the privileges, yeah,
Privileges.
that
She was
come
not
along with?
consistent with work. She comes when she wants to. And the irony is, like, all these ladies will be there, the three, and in the evening hours, maybe once or twice a week, his wife comes to see us. We all know that is the wife. And I'm looking at the wife, and she's also looking at these girls, and she seems ignorant. And
Did the girls know that
everyone,
at one point, did they all know that this guy is after us?
I think so. Me, the
Or
impression
they
I
were all
got,
in a different world
no, 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 no. They all knew that they were being run
by one
by
person?
one person. And I think it's like, like I'd mentioned earlier, there, with some ladies, it's a pride. Some people look at it as, if the boss is after me, then I'm beautiful, I'm hot. It's a pride. It's to some people, whereas to another person, it's insulting for a married man to approach you and want to use you. So probably the only fight would be, or the struggle would be now amongst themselves. Who is going to be number one? Who is going to be number two? And who will be number three? But they knew themselves. They seemed quite comfortable with it. The madam seemed unknowledgeable of it, or she didn't know about it. And that's just the way the office worked.
And you guys who knew everything or a bit of it had to just remain silent
Everyone is
about it.
quiet. Everyone, even the male staff, they can tell you, yeah, that's his girlfriend, or they'll have a conversation and be like, oh my gosh, this guy has a new girl. So every time a new intern or trainee entered the office, you're pretty, he finds you interesting, you join, like
And I
that.
think this whole thing of sex for jobs or the harassment and asking for these, you call them advances, it's normally, the interns normally face it
Mm, mm,
rough,
mm.
if I'm to use the right words.
Yeah,
Because at a certain point, you might find that some of them are so desperate with being maintained at the workplace.
yeah,
And
yeah.
because
That's what I would,
they
yeah.
have no one to talk to or no one to run to, at the end
Mm,
of the day, they
mm,
might have, they might find themselves doing what they are not even supposed to do in
mm.
the name of, maybe being retained at that job.
Yes, yes. Um, so with, because of what you've just said, I don't judge anyone for being in that kind of situation, whether you're comfortable with it or not. I don't judge because from my personal experience, it's really hard out there. When you come out of university and you're not, apparently there's what they call the planned kid. I don't know. There's that new
Mm.
thing. I'm a planned kid, so the job is just there waiting, which majority don't have. You struggle, you struggle. You need rent. You're finding your way out, and Ugandan unemployment. It's really bad. So you have 1,000 something graduates coming out of UCU or Makerere or something, and the media houses are less than 100, and you all want to get into the
They
same
are competing for something like
same
50 jobs
exactly. So
or
you're willing to
100.
do anything
Mm.
to get yourself in there,
Mm.
and that's why it becomes very, very easy to be
To be
exploited or
manipulated.
manipulated.
Mm.
And I think for me now, in my case, what has helped me is, I thank God I have a very supportive family. My parents and my, as well as my sister, they are very keen on, we talk about our career with my parents. They listen and they guide you. So even, of course, when I was struggling, I was unemployed, I was sitting home for months, telling them what is happening kind of helps them. My sister being ahead of me would tell me, Penny, just hang in there. Do you need a 50? Let me give you, maybe this can push you. She gives you some money, and it helped me. It helped me. But now I'm imagining someone who doesn't have that. It's, or maybe you have people, but they are not concerned about you, or they're on their own. When you're unable to pay your rent, or you don't have what to eat, or you don't have, it's, you'll just have to take it. You'll find yourself taking it because you don't have anyone to tell you the other alternatives, or to encourage you to just hang in there. So I don't judge anyone who has taken that direction. I think it's circumstance. But what I'm saying is it doesn't have to be that way. So now if you don't have someone to tell you that it doesn't have to be that way, now me, I'm telling you it doesn't have to be that way. Let's look for alternatives. We talk about, I know it's specific to sex for jobs with females, but there are also gentlemen who are, them it may not be sex for jobs,
Mm-hmm.
but they're being exploited. I have met media people. Uganda's media industry is very interesting. I think I'm the one who's getting exposed to it, but I've met media organizations that are recruiting. They target people who have just come out of the university. So someone puts you on a job of, maybe you're running stories for their website or for their TV station, and you're volunteering for 6 months. Now the 6 months only caters for your movement to cover these
Transport.
stories and your
Mm-hmm.
transport. This person has rent to pay. They have food. And you're running them for 6 months. Apparently, they need to prove that they are worth the job. And
That
these
they
are
are fit
people,
for the job.
exactly.
Mm.
Now these are people I've spoken to personally, and then after 6 months, they say, "Oh, now you finally sign a contract. Maybe your contract is 300,000." So he'll tell you, from the 300, I pay my rent, I eat food, I buy clothes, and I'm using that same 300 to cover stories. When the boss says, go here and cover a story, he doesn't give me another money. It comes from the 300. And I asked this gentleman, but how does that even work? And he says, no, but we're this number, we're all working under the same thing. And if you show the boss that you don't want, he tells you it's fine. If you want to go, go. There are very many people who need jobs. You're not the only one. So, and you actually see your friend go, and in a week he has got a new university student, and the cycle goes on. But that is exploitation on so many levels. Like, there is no reason why you make someone work within such a,
An
you know it,
environment. Yeah.
you know, they're not they think they're benefiting, but they are not happy, you know. And when you ask this individual, why aren't these people signing contracts, they have excuses. And that's the first thing I would tell, especially now here for the boy child. Don't take, also with the ladies, don't do any work without signing something. That's one of the mistakes I made in my, don't don't dare, however small it is, don't dare do something where someone promises payment and you don't put it down on paper, because you're going to do that work and you're going to get out with nothing, and you have no way of complaining about it.
You don't have any terms of agreement.
That is it. And they notice, you know, when they target these interns, they know that they're not knowledgeable, they don't know. So even me, when I remember there was something someone called me for on Twitter per se, and it was a job to do radio. They told me, you know, you're such a controversial human. You're a girl who is very outspoken, and we like that about you. So we want you to come and talk about controversial topics. I said, okay, fine. I'm like, which kind? I said, like genital mutilation. I'm like, yeah, I'm on for that. I was at UCU, so I said, in my mind, I knew there is going to be transport, because I told them I'm in Mukono, the office is in Kampala, but it was not mentioned. So I arranged, and on the day of going after my lectures on a Saturday, I'm about to board a taxi to come to Kampala. Then I call this gentleman. No, he calls me and says, "Are you on your way?" I say, "Yes." Then, I'm like, "Oh, by the way, you have not yet sent the transport." And then he says, "Oh, you know, we're not doing so well. We won't be able to send you trans." I was like, "Hey."
Yet they needed you to be there on the job.
I was like, but I don't have money. He's like, no, 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 just find a way. But you know, as we continue with the sessions, we'll start paying you. So I was a bit confused. At first I was like, okay, they'll pay me later. So I reached out to one of my lecturers. I called him. I said, you know, sir, there's this opportunity. They've told me to go, and he told me, my friend, do not dare go. Don't, who, how? They want you to go with your own? I said, yes. He said, now imagine you're not even asked on phone. You're going to finish the show and come back.
And you do the same thing tomorrow, the other day.
So when he told me, I just called the gentleman. I told him, I'm sorry, I cannot make it. But how many other young people are they doing that to? I said there has to be a contract, and I don't know, I've had so many experiences in that area where I have done work without contracts, and it has been tough getting the money, very, very tough. So if someone, even I told those gentlemen that were saying, you know, they're volunteering for 6 months, I told them no one volunteers for 6 months. Even if it's voluntary, let it be put on paper. If it's not on paper, don't sign up for it. That's simple. Because a boss who you say you're quitting, and he says, if you want to go, go, that person doesn't care about you. You don't need to be employed by someone who doesn't care about your well-being.
Because he or she knows that we don't have you anywhere in the record. So it's up to you to go or to stay.
And they were constantly quitting. They don't finish a year. They tell you, we keep seeing new faces because people can't manage. And the person above is making his money. He's buying his properties, he's at the expense of someone else. So if I'm employing, probably, say for example, I'm employing 6 interns, I'm paying 300. That covers all of them at 2 million. Maybe my profit is, I don't know what, 7 million. All I'm spending on them is that 2 million. The rest is mine. What's the logic? So they're not they are not really benefiting. So there is the sex for jobs, but we also need to be very keen. There is a lot of
This other exploitation
There
you've
is a
clearly
lot
described.
of exploitation.
Working without contracts.
Don't dare, don't, especially
The
ladies.
poor
I
working
know.
conditions, like they expect you to be in the field without any facilitation.
No food,
No food.
no drink, no transport. For our ladies, we have so many young girls want to be on TV.
So desperate about it.
Oh my gosh, as long as I am on the screen, even without a pay, then they say, those are the ones we want. And then they just use you like that and like that. And the truth is, it happens, it is happening. It's just that people are not courageous to talk about it. But I don't want anyone to go through what I have gone through. It's not nice. It is not nice. And it's the reason, to be honest, at some point, I almost left media. I got so frustrated because I was trying to do things the right way, but also in the atmosphere, the job, exploitation. They are not paying you, the sexual harassment, and then you have to get a job when you know someone. There's a technical know-who. I said, this industry is not for me, because I know outside Uganda, journalists are being paid well. In Europe, journalists are paid well. So I thought, why do I have to? Why do I have to do this? Let me get into my other talents. But it took time for me to say, no, Penny, this is not how we do it. Go back and set an example. Yeah.
So do you have any plans of, or are you still chasing that dream of establishing yourself as a journalist,
Mm.
or basically in the media industry, or you're now chasing some different things because of the experience you went through?
No, no, no. I plan to. I'm joining gradually. I'm coming back. I'll be honest. I pulled out for some time. Right now, I work for medical insurance (UAP). Uh, Although I'm more on the public relations side,
Mm.
and also when I was in campus in my third year, we are told to specify on which, if you want to do journalism, that is the media, the newsroom, and then there is uh, communication, which is more of PR.
Mm.
I chose journalism, but when I came out, I've noticed that I'm more interested. I'm finding myself being pushed into the area of PR. So when I decided to come back, or as I'm gradually coming back, I'm looking more into PR.
Yeah.
So I want to, what I've been working on, probably next year, I want to create, to put together um, platforms like platforms and what do we call them? Sorry, workshops, rather, workshops and trainings where we can train young people in public speaking. Um, I appreciate public speaking. I'm not excellent at it, but I'm getting there. But I got that idea from social media. I would talk to people on Twitter, make my videos, and you find people saying that some people have inboxed me personally. Oh, I don't know how to. I can't make a speech. Someone told me even in the office, when they ask me to pray, I can't pray. I get nervous. I get scared. How would
Have
you
people
guys?
approached you about the way you write as well?
My writing?
Mm-hmm.
Not the writing per se, but there are people who have reached out to me and told me, you are, I like your mind. I get that a lot. I like your mind. You're such a unique lady. Someone actually approached me and just told me, you are a beautiful and very brave person. And I was waiting for, can I have your contact? Those things. And I thought it was like an approach, but it was that. I was like, that's all he said. I just wanted you to know that. I was like, wow. So also those things keep like motivating me, and yeah. So I want to come up with trainings where we can just teach people to speak confidently, to express themselves. Some people, it's not even being in front of others. Some people just don't know how to express themselves.
Where to start from,
They
what
don't
to
know.
say, what
They
to leave
don't know.
out.
And so when you're not able to, people sometimes misinterpret you.
Mm.
I might be an introvert and everyone thinks I'm terrible or I'm proud,
Or you are
and yet
unapproachable, things like that.
unapproachable, but it's because of I don't know how to bring out my inside self for you to see on that. And yet, when you get to know me, I'm a really nice person. So that's something I look into. And with time, you never know. My dreams are beyond Uganda, but for now, that is where we are. Yeah.
Before I forget, when I was reading through the replies, I also noticed that some people brought up this whole thing of ladies or the females. Now, if we are to go back to the other vice of sex for jobs, the females use sex as a trade for the jobs instead. Much as we have these people who normally approach, as we've seen, either directly or indirectly, but we also have those, especially the females, who are ready to give in whatever they have
Yeah.
to get
Yeah.
what they need.
Yeah. Yeah, that is very common. We have ladies, even in my personal circles, the women I've dealt with. I've had friends, and I still have friends who believe that the only way they can get what they want is through sex. Now, for that, I think, and I've posted on Twitter before, I think that when you think of yourself in that way, you have esteem issues. As a woman, as a human being, you need to know that you are amazing. You have so much to offer. I look at myself every day and I tell myself, you're amazing, Penny. You're beautiful.
You're what you
I
think you
tell
are.
myself, yes, I tell myself, you're so cool. You're an exceptional woman. I tell myself that because I'm looking at, I have so many skills and talents to offer. I have a mind to offer. I have love to offer. I can be a mother. I can be a wife. I can be an influencer for the right reasons, right? I'm something the world needs. So the body, my physical self, my sexuality is, yes, it is an addition to that. But I cannot base my value and my worth on my sexuality, because it means if my confidence is in my sex, or rather sexuality, people will never get to know who I am until they sleep with me. I don't know if you get the logic. People don't see value in you, and will you have to sleep with every man before
For
the
them
man
to
to know
see.
that you have, you get, people should see it from the outside, not you're walking but in your head you're like, but me, I know if I give that boss some, I'm going to become, he's going to get stuck on me. Must So how many are you going to go through? So to me, that comes from a place of lack of self-confidence, women not knowing themselves. If you know yourself, you would feel very uncomfortable having to give yourself out to be recognized worthy of a job, worthy of something.
So at the end of the day,
You get?
someone can be outstanding either at a workplace or anywhere without having to sleep with
You
the
don't have to sleep.
bosses.
It's a very wrong
It's
mentality.
all about doing the right thing,
Yes.
you
It
know,
actually it and it defeats the purpose. Because you're here
showing
trying
off the
to
skills you have.
you're trying to you're trying to speak about, women protecting themselves, men hunting for the women. But when you have ladies who are actually pushing in that direction, because from that one of the tweets, I actually had someone say that it is that he's a boss. I don't remember. He wrote that he's a boss, and he has on many occasions had his employees throw themselves at him, and he has had to decline. And I said, okay, wow. So it's now the manager fighting the women coming to him. Now, in that case,
I
it
think I
makes
read
it.
that reply. I think it was a guy from Kenya
Mm, mm.
who I think
He
is
talked
working on
about,
a construction site, something like
yes,
that.
yes.
Mm.
So it defeats the purpose. But if we want to, we now have a challenge. We need to work, and we need to look at um, changing our self value. We need to look at not doing what everyone else is doing. And in the video, I say that if us as ladies, even gentlemen, if we stood up and said, I am not going to do this,
You need to
if
stick
we
on that.
all, those men would stop,
Mm.
those bosses would stop. But how do you want them to stop when this one is saying no and the other one is even
Saying yes, more
surrendering
than ready.
herself?
Yeah.
And then we need to establish self-confidence in our women. Our ladies are not confident in themselves. That is the truth. They think that beauty and your body is your worth.
It's everything.
It is everything to you. And so when they sleep with these bosses, when they show or try to, you know, seduce these men, they think they're doing something amazing. They think you who is covering up or you who is declining is a fool. But in the long run, you'll be empty. You'll be empty. We need to teach our women to come back to, who am I? What do
Because
I
at the end
stand
of the day,
for?
someone
Okay.
will be used and
And
dumped.
dumped and dumped. And you need to know that even as a woman, as the boss approaches you, you're not the first,
And you're not going to be
you're
the
not the
last.
last. There is nothing exceptional about you. You may think that you're mind blowing. There is another girl who's going to come. That's even the same thing with TV. I always say you might think you're the most beautiful on TV. There is another girl on the way, and she's going to make everyone forget about you. So, what else do you have to offer?
What do you have to tell these people who normally say, well, it's my life, it's my body, I'm an adult, I have a right to do whatever I think is the
It's
right
my
thing.
right, it's my body, I can do what I want. Yeah, you're right. You know, no one can force you.
Mm.
No one can force you to do what they want you to do. We will speak. You have a choice to listen or not to listen. But they say experience is the best teacher, but sometimes experience will leave you no time. Your experience one time may be
Mm.
the end of you ever having another chance. When you go and do what you do, I think it's important to think about your happiness deeply. Don't think about, I have this, I have that, I'm with the boss, he's giving me a car and this, or this is my life, I'm acquiring this. Think about your inner happiness. Think about 10 years from now, right? You're feeding your physical, you're feeding your soul. Are you happy? Where is this taking you?
Think about the very reason
Hmm?
as to why you were looking for that job in the first place.
Exactly.
Mm.
Is it the world? Is it everything to you? That's is that what you stand for? Because the world will give you what you give it back, right? So at the end of the day, yes, you've mentioned and I do agree. No one is going to force anyone to do anything, no. But it is your life. Make sure that the decisions you make, live now, 10, 20, 50 years from now, you're going to be proud of them. Make sure you'll be proud of them. Not if people are judging you, but your actions come with consequences. Make sure you're ready for the consequences as yourself. Yeah.
So looking at the posts and the video you made, and I understand you've been receiving quite a number of reactions, positive, but there are also those that are negative. Have you received any kind of confrontations or something, or should I call them threats? Or
I haven't received threats, but I saw some posts on Twitter, and I'll be honest, me when I saw posts, I just I delete. If I see anything negative, I delete. But I'd seen some people write, and I think there was a lady and a gentleman. Those are the ones I remember most. Of you is it you think you're righteous? You why do you want to dictate on people's lives? What if people want to take that path, right? It was more of why do you want to decide for people? And I wanted to respond, but I didn't respond. I just deleted. Before I put the post up, I knew there were going to be those kinds of people. I know not everyone can agree with you. Not everyone is comfortable. Not everyone thinks it's a problem.
so it,
No.
it took time for you to make the posts.
I knew. I told you,
How long did it take?
like I said, I'd thought about it for quite a while.
You
But
made you
putting
made
it,
your drafts,
I draft, I think, I
save them,
read, I'm like,
edit.
how is it going to be taken?
Mm.
And then I'm like, drop it. And then you close your eyes and you're like, ah. So you read, of course, whether it's positive, you're like, yeah, whether it's negative, I'll just remove.
Of
But
course,
I
at
expected
the end
that.
of the day, you won't only receive positive messages,
You also receive
the negative
negative.
messages will
That's,
also be there.
yeah, the negative messages, like I said, you now know that there are organizations that are never going to. Yes, I know that, but like I said, I don't mind. I don't
So
mind. I
you
stand for
have it in mind
something.
that there
That
are
is it.
some
I am very
organizations that you
sure.
might
I'm very
approach
sure.
and
I'm
they're
very
like, we are
sure
not
there are
ready to take
people.
you in.
I'm so sure there are people that have read it, and they're like, there is this girl called Penelope. Never let her come to it. And I keep telling myself, like I said, um, I'm a woman of purpose. Me, I know I have a purpose. What is mine will be mine, right? I'm doing the right thing. I'm not doing anything wrong. So if you don't want to give me a job, it's not the end of the world, right? I will end up where I need to end up, but I need to protect. I need to speak. If I don't do it, then who else is going to do it? If we all keep quiet, then how is it helping us? Yeah, so no regrets.
Your
Yeah.
final message to the viewer watching out there on Diaspora Connect UG.
Oh, so what's my final message? When it's very simple. I think your first and most important thing is to live your life and to enjoy your life. But make yourself the priority. And making yourself the priority for me is not just looking at, short-term happiness. Make yourself the priority by looking at long-term happiness. Do things that are going to protect and keep you and benefit you in the long run. Take care of yourself, love yourself. And loving yourself means value yourself, right? Loving yourself is not, I'm going to put on my makeup, I'm going to, wear my Jordans, I'm going to drive a Benz. Loving yourself is taking care of yourself and valuing yourself. Whenever anyone comes up to you and wants to use you for a service, you need to remember that you are way more important than a job, a car, a vehicle. You are of value. You should feel insulted when someone does that to you. So just love yourself, value yourself, care for yourself, enjoy your life, right? This life is only once, you live it once, but make sure that in all your decisions and choices, you are proud of your choices. Yeah, they catch up with you, but make sure that you're able to say, I did this and I have no regrets. I think that's really it. Yeah, I've spoken a lot. I don't want to. But thank you so much.
Thank you
Thank
very
you.
much for speaking to us. It's been a pleasure having you
Thank
on
you
the show.
too. Thank you too.
We've actually talked about very many things on
Yeah.
record and off
Yeah.
camera. And
Yeah.
I believe the viewer out there will have something important to note. At the end of the day, you don't have to take everything, but at least make sure you pick something from what Penelope has shared. But because these are the very things that happen in society, but you find that few people choose to talk about them. But yes, they are happening in society, and you never know. Uh, your brother, your sister, your daughter might be a victim. But there is a saying that goes, prevention is better than cure.
Sure.
So we don't have to first find ourselves there, then to look for a solution. So it's better to look for solutions before you even get there. That's why we chose to speak to Penelope Nankunda right here on Diaspora Connect UG. Stories like these are the ones we bring right here on this channel. We are here to inform, to sensitize, to mobilize, to inspire. This is Diaspora Connect UG. On behalf of the entire team right here in Uganda and the team in California, USA, thank you very much for keeping locked on this channel. Until we meet again, my name is Eric Boa.
You're watching Diaspora Connect UG. The views expressed on this program or commentary are solely of the individuals providing them and do not represent or reflect the official policy or position of this YouTube channel or its management. You've been watching Diaspora Connect UG, bringing you closer to home.